Right, here we go. We're bringing back the Weekender. Many of you know what that was. I did it in the magazines back in the early 2000s. It lasted nearly 10 years, nearly a decade. It was a big part of my fishing life. I used to go around day ticket venues, accessible to everybody, try and catch 30 pounders in 48 hours. That was what I set that target. Okay, we didn't always do it, but I caught an awful lot of 30s. So what we're going to do is going to bring this now, the Weekender, back in film format. So we're going to go around the country, literally picking out day ticket waters and seeing what we can do. Turning out 48 hours, brand new lake. Some of them I'd have been to before, some I haven't. So it's relishing the challenge, you know. But the first one, we brought you a perfect venue. We've got the Yateley complex. We're going to be fishing the Pads Lake. I've got the lake to myself, which is an unusual one, but it's booked out, you know, it's a day ticket venue, you book out the lake. So obviously, you know, I'm the only one going to be fishing, so it's either going to go one way or the other. It's going to be really tricky, you know, the fish will end up one end of the lake and I'll be chasing them around or whatever, but I'm actually relishing the challenge. It's an old stomping ground of mine, Yateley. It's the mecca of carp angling. It's where it all started for me, you know, and a lot of people. So the history, you know, we've got the Carp Lake behind me, the Split Lake, the North Lake. It's just got this awe of, don't know, it just does something to me. So I haven't been this excited for so long. So we're gonna have a walk around the lake, try and find out where the fish are, try and find a plot. You know, there's a few swims that I remember waiting man's pole position, but obviously we've got to go and see what the lake's about. It may have changed over the years. It's been probably 20 years since I've been down here. So yeah, actually relishing the challenge, and yeah, fingers crossed. Bang on. That's absolutely smooth as a baby's bottom. Oh, a little bit of gravel there. That's yeah, that's perfect. It's all going rather swimmingly. Right, well, I'm just going to knock up a couple of rigs. I mean, I've got the brolly up in the swim that, you know, I've sort of plumbed out and whatever. Give it a little bit of a rest. But having a little walk around earlier, I saw three fish boshing this margin. I had a little peek around there just a minute ago, and they're literally bubbling up only about 6 foot from the bank. So I'm going to knock a couple of rods up, being it's opportunists, and I can walk around the lake and whatever. I haven't put any bait down there, so I'm literally just going to go in with a basic complicated rig, really simple nylon rig, out-turned eye hook. Always got to use that, because if you don't, the fluorocarbon will snap around the hook eye. So I'm just going to knock 2 of these up, slide a little bit of pellet down, just so the hook's covered, just so I've got presentation, because I don't know what's down there. And we'll just give it an hour. Give it an hour and see whether see if we can snare one of these ones that are still, you know, they're still in the feeding zone. So we might as well take the opportunity and give this a bit of a rest from that lead in the belt and whatever. We know the wraps now, so simple as that. It's just literally, I've just used a little krill dumbbell, very aggressive angle on the hook. It's more of a claw sort of rig, doesn't flip and turn. Make sure the hook's sharp, as always out the packet. I'll just do a little tiny bit with my fingers, and that's razor sharp. So we knock up 2 of them, and then as I say, we'll slide down some of the 2.3mm bloodworm pellet, just so the presentation's perfect. goes. She does. Yep, she's in. Get in there. That will do. That will do nicely. A lot of pressure off when you're filming. It's you know, I'm kind of used to the pressure. I don't want to sound cocky, but I've done it for a lot of years. But it's also nice when you nail down your first carp. Happy days. So look at that. I think they're probably more solid than they look. But yeah, it's probably about 24, 25. That'll do. $28.4. That'll do. 28.4. Nice opener. 25 minutes into getting the rods out. Absolute cracking fish. 28.4. Actually blown away. It's always nice to start off. You don't, got 48 hours in front of a camera. It's I've heard how dark these Pads Lake fish are, and here he is. I think it's definitely a male. Yeah, he's got complete attitude. They haven't spawned in here yet, I don't think. And yeah, what an absolute lump. What a way to start, you know, just literally just from observation. And that was key to this capture. And you know, I'm going to use this because we saw him sort of rolling here this morning when we set up, and I'll use this little area. I'll put some bloodworm pellet out there. Maybe have another one stalking, but can't grumble with that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's time for a cup of tea. Put this lovely back and see if we can go and get another one. What a start! What an absolute start! Buzzing. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to meet you. So that's all the rods clipped up, ready to go, ready for the night. Had a bit of an eventful afternoon, stalking that fish out, but I've just tied up 3 of the standard, basic, complicated rigs. It's a rig I've used for many, many years. It's reliable, it catches loads of fish. Just going to slide a little bag down, just in case there's a little bit of weed or whatever out there. I've walked around, put some bait in the different spots. I'm going to put, on the right hand rod, I'm going to put, it's 21 wraps. It's not 21 wraps as in full wraps, because I've done the shorter sticks. But I'm going to put the marker float out there and then walk round and then bait it up. Just see where the area is that I'm going to fish, the open water. So I've got you know, I've got one close in, one a little bit further away from the pads, and then one out in the open water. So let's get fingers crossed that we'll get one off the bottom now. So so get these rigs tied on, get the bags slid down, and get them cast out. What an eventful day. Started off, the hardest bit when you're filming is it's getting everything done to start with, you know, finding the spots, filming it, and you don't really get to start fishing. But I've started to capitalise on that early feeding spell. Well, we'll say early, it was in the afternoon, you know. But what a fish that was. So to start off, and now, you know, I've got all the spots, I've marked them out, they're all clipped up and deposited some bait, as you've seen earlier. And I've seen when the wind died down a little bit, it's worth saying that, you know, this is the first time I've seen a southwesterly for a long time, you know, through this sort of lockdown period. It's just been easterlies and northerlies, and, you know, and to see a southwesterly back in, the fish seem quite happy, and you know, I'm more than confident that something's going to occur. You know, I've had fizzing over the rods, and a little liner on the right hand rod. So as we go into the evening, I feel a little bit like a kid waiting for Christmas to come. It's so exciting. What a beautiful place to be. You know, it's lovely to be out and on a historic lake like this. So fingers crossed that we latch into one of these big girls, and hopefully the next thing you might see is one of those. Fingers crossed for the night. Right, well, kind of reacted to what I saw this morning down the margins, so I donned the waders. Actually just put 2 little single bags on the area that they were sort of jumping. I was up most of the night last night, and I heard them about 2 o'clock, and they were definitely down there, and then they were fizzing again this morning. But it's a different day today, totally different day. The weather's not a lot different, but they were fizzing up yesterday. They were a lot happier yesterday. Today I'm not seeing a lot of fizzing, so that kind of makes me think, you know, I've got to do something, and I've given that 3 hours now down on that spot, you know, along the margin there. So I just think, well, I'm not seeing many bubblers. I just think they're using the sort of mid layers. It's only a shallow lake, so as you can see, I've done these zigs at 2 foot. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to place out 3 2-foot zigs out in the middle zone. I've seen a few fish rolling out there, but they're just not fizzing on the bottom. So I just think that they're just thinking, well, you know, they're not in a feedy mood. So we're going to try these. It's about 4 to 5 foot most places. I expect in other places it's a little bit shallower due to bars and stuff, but we're just going to trust our luck on you know, depositing 3 zigs out there, and that's all I can. That's all I can do. Yesterday when we turned up at Yateley Angling just to check in and you know, to make sure we're all set for the pads and get the code for the gate, outside I found this and I am quite superstitious. I always pay the lake, I always put in 50p when I turn up to any lake, which I've done already, and I found that little lucky, I'm not Irish, but the Irish have got more luck than anyone, so I'm going to put this on this little spool and when that goes hopefully don't look really Irish. Sorry about the accent, boys, but let's see if a bit of Irish luck works for me. There you go. That's giving that a good. That's been about an hour. Getting into the evening now. Sun's going down. I've got to zip up the shop, get some essentials, and get some rigs made for tonight. So getting back out of the spots, we've seen a few. It's been a bit encouraging. Pressure's dropped. Got a good feeling about tonight. You know, last night I thought definite, but it wasn't to be. It was just today's been an absolute grueler of a day. Just chasing, looking for fish. Just literally, there's no shows at all until this afternoon. And I think if we'd have given this a bit longer, I think that would have. That's definitely something I might have a little go at tomorrow morning. And but all good things come to an end, so I'm gonna have to get it in. And my lucky little Irish coin didn't do the trick, but it's only had an hour, so I'll keep that for tomorrow. It just feels ripe for a bite, you know, and I think, you know, rather than throwing in loads of boiling, whatever, I've just literally changed the spots up, mixed them up, identified where the feeding spots were and where they were boshing, you know, and I can't do any more than that and just sit and fingers crossed. As you can see by my hands, they're spomming out the bloodworm pellet. It looks like I've actually murdered someone, but it's bloodworm pellet. So I'm going to get washed up and get the kettle on and watch the night come in, and hopefully one of these will be zipping off with a nice 30 pounder. That'd be ideal. So fingers crossed. Right, okay, so come to the end of the session. Get one of the rods in. It's it's been a session of sort of highs and lows. It's the first weekender, so it's you know, a bit of a pilot. Well, that's reeled in lovely there. But yeah, so it's I think you have to sort of, if you have to give it sort of analytic look back, is there anything I'd do differently? I don't think there is, you know. It's been a sort of session of two halves really. When we first got here, the fish were, you know, they were fizzing in the margins, they were sort of boshing out, they were sheeting up in places, and I thought this is going to be it. You know, we've got, especially catching a fish 25 minutes in, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be one of those sessions that you don't often come to sort of, you know, a Yateley Lake and I think you're going to have it away sort of thing. But I thought that was the case, but it's obviously it's proved different. I fished my socks off. You know, I had to literally sort of, especially with the lake being, it's got the green dye in it, the blue dye. It's been very, very difficult to find out where the fish are. I've had to go from senses, smelling them, walking the lake, lapping it, you know, finding little bubblers, sort of baiting little spots. It's the only way I could tell where the fish were. So it made it very difficult, you know. It's in one way it's helped with the weed, because this lake's normally choked with weed, and I can understand fully why, you know, why you would put this dye in to, you know, suppress the weed down. But in the other hand, it's made it difficult for the fishing. But I've changed rods, I've changed rigs, I've tried zig rigs, which I don't normally do. I've done that early on, you know, but they just changed. Something in the air has changed around here. And chatting to one of the bailiffs, they've shut the lake across the road, the Match Lake. They've started to look like they're going to start spawning on the Split Lake, and possibly this is what's going to happen. What's been happening here. So I literally last night, on the second night, I put out a single hook bait and 4 spoms of bloodworm pellet. Literally winter tactics, trying to get a bite. But that's how it is. That's fishing, and that's why we go back. If we caught a 30 pounder every time we went, or 2 or 3, you'd end up going, oh, I'm a bit bored now. What do I need to do to, you know, to feed my appetite? And you know, and that's why carp fishing, you know, it's never that easy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And but I don't think, in hindsight, I haven't overfed them. I've literally trickled in the boilie, the krill active, and they were definitely on it the first day, you know. But this second one, carved out a little bite, little krill pop up, and so no, I wouldn't have done anything different. You know, I'd like to possibly come back and get revenge on this, but I've had a big fish. You know, it looked like it was spawned out. Whether it's a male or whether it was spawned out, I don't know. It looked bigger than it was. So, you know, near 30 pounder. It's a big enough fish. You know, a lot of people, that would be a personal best for them, and they'd be happy as Larry. I'm happy as Larry. But you always want to go for that 30 pounder. I wanted to do that milestone thing. That's how I always set my target on the old Weekender series. And this was, you know, this was one that I really wanted to start with, a nice 30 pounder, because there's so many in here, you know. But all in all, happy days. It's you know, I've had a great time, and definitely somewhere I'd like to come back. I might even book this one on my own sort of thing, you know, with a few mates, and see if we can come back and have another little dabble. But see you next time. You know, it's as I say, it's a monthly series, so we'll see you next month, and hopefully you'll be on a different lake and a different story.